video may contain content parents may find unsuitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, Brawlers and Hollas. What's going on? It's Hunger again. It's another Brawlhalla stream. Oh, it's so exciting. I'm gonna get my butt kicked so bad. Anyway. Let's jump into a custom room, because Detainings is already here. Because of course he is. Alright. Settings. Let's get into settings. Let's see. Do that. Map set. Beak maps. Player count. Up to 8. We can do 8, right? Alright. I think that works. Right? Okay. Next up. Oh, hey, Siege is here. Yeah. Next up, as I was about to say, let's jump into the chat on Discord real quick so that we can hear everybody. Let's see here.
Come in, you royal boob!
There we go. That should be connected. Oh, wait. Sorry, I need to change my Discord settings. Of course I do. Give me a second. Voice and video. Here we go. Let's see. Headset microphone. Headset earphone. Alright. Sweet. Okay. That should totally work. Take that. Alright, so I'm connected. Anyway. Now that that's out of the way. Alright. Alright, so let's go to Brawlhalla real quick. Because right now I need this, right? 25,000. So about 9,000 some odd away, right? So a little over 9,000 away. So we're gonna be working on that. I did the royal boob meme. Did you not see it?
Come in, you royal boob!
There it is again.
Come in, you royal boob!
And a third time.
Come in, you royal boob!
And a fourth time. Anyway, it's there.
Royal boob here. I mean, heyo.
Oh, yeah. Sorry you didn't hear it the first time. Anyway.
So we have a room number?
Yeah, we got a room number. Let's see. What is that pesky room code? 5631122 looks like. Alright, so
I'm having the worst luck with pens today.
563112. Detaining's like, don't get the color palette. It's kind of my thing. I get the color palettes for the characters that I'm playing with. I don't go out and spend real money on getting skins and whatnot. I just get color palettes. There's nothing else to buy with that gold right now, so, you know.
Orion.
Actually, let's...
I'd love for them just once to have a new character purchasable with gold, not mammoth coins.
Well, no, new regular legends are always purchasable with gold. It's the crossover characters that usually involve the mammoth coins.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only crossover so far that they've got with gold is Rayman. So.
Yep. I'll be playing him for the foreseeable future.
All right.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah. All right. Got Mr. Maggie in here.
3, 2, 1, brawl!
So the last video I caught on YouTube before connecting to this was Chris Chan's arrest video.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. it's hard for me to say who I feel most sympathy for. Because I know about Chris Chan's history with mental illness, autism, and so forth. And I mean, I look at myself. I'm like, wow, I had a bad hand.
You know.
And of course, I don't forget if it was his mother or his grandmother or whoever it is that he did what he did.
I think it's his mother. Anyway.
Yeah. Just like
Anyway. But
sometimes you just look at a situation and it's like they had no chance.
Well, here's the thing. All right. I agree that it's sad, but at the same time, I do agree that something needs to be done to get somebody who has that type of problem off the streets. You know, Ron White had a stand-up bit where he talks about not publicly executing crazy people. It's like, oh, he's too crazy to know that we're killing him. And it's like, well, if he doesn't know if he doesn't know the difference, and it makes me feel better, you know. But basically, you know, the way he put it was pretty simple and easy to understand. It's like, well, what does this crazy person do? Well, he rolls his turds in little balls and eats crayons. What does that crazy person do? He kills productive members of society. Well, he should have rolled his turds into little balls and ate crayons. You know, like, yes, you can play. Cool 5 minute. The code is in the chat, and I'll go ahead and pin it. Let's see here.
563112.
Anyway, but yeah, so it's just something where I get that people who have disabilities, whether they're mental or physical, need a little help from society. I get that, but at the same time, if those people are not fit to be out in society, then they need to be somewhere else. You know. So,
Yep.
I can only hope that while he is incarcerated, he will get some sort of help with whatever issues drove him to do what he did. You know, so.
And those issues are legion.
Right. So, I don't think it's just one thing. I don't think you can blame it all on, oh, he's on the spectrum, or he had this problem growing up or that problem growing up. I think it's a multitude of things.
Him being on the spectrum is not even the tip of the iceberg.
Right, like I said, I think it's a lot of things in concert. I don't know anything really about the guy other than, you know, kind of what he did and what his situation is. So you know, he's not like a personal friend or enemy of mine. But yeah, I did fight him in Pokemon Go once. Not the actual person, but they literally put him in as a character in Pokemon Clover, and I beat the crap out of him. Anyway.
I think there's a YouTube series someone did. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole, and there was an episode about him.
Yeah.
It's now woefully outdated. If you do a YouTube search for Down the Rabbit Hole, you'll probably find the video that'll get you up to speed for the most part.
Or you'll find some really weird bunny girl hentai. But anyway.
Possibly. Speaking of bunny girl hentai, I'm not one of those people who's stereotypically aggravated over Lola being desexualized. I mean, we had a mini rant about it the other week. But what I am annoyed about is if they were going to go for a non-sex pot version of the character, why not go for something more akin to the recent reboot of her on the Looney Tunes show? Because she actually felt like a Looney Tune and not just some sex object. And she felt like she really fit in with the rest of the cast, almost as if you would be fooled into thinking that Lola Bunny was actually a character from the 1900s or something, and they just hadn't used her in decades.
So, you know, the thing is, when they first introduced Lola in the original Space Jam, like, part of, like, her being sexy was part of the plot. It's part of the character. It's something where that was, you know, part of what drives Bugs' reactions towards her and things like that. So they wanted to emphasize that Bugs finds her attractive, you know? So, you know, it's something that, you know, I don't agree with, I don't agree with this trend of, you know, like, I understand wanting to have characters with different body types, and that's fine, but don't take a character that was sexy and give them a different body type, because what that's doing is it's sending a harmful message that it's somehow wrong to be sexy.
Right.
You know, that if you have a voluptuous body, then that means that there's something wrong with you, and that's not okay. Like, that's sending the same message that's being sent to these fat girls, or these you know, non-voluptuous girls to sexy girls instead. It's just shifting where the message is being sent, and that's not okay.
Right. It's just as bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's just as bad, but towards a different group of people. Like, if you're going to have, you know, like I said, it's totally okay to have characters with different body types. Heck, the male Looney Tunes come in all kinds of different body types. Look at Porky Pig, you know, like, and he's got a girlfriend too, by the way, you know, like, and she's not super voluptuous, you know. They could have put her in there, but of course they didn't, you know. There's a character who's been around for a long time, Petunia. That's Porky's girl, you know. So if they wanted a character that's female, that's not a frickin' bombshell, they could have used her, you know. So just saying, you know, and I get that might get them some flack for different reasons. Oh, you're saying fat girls are pigs, but, you know, like, seriously, it's you know, that they're not saying sexy girls are bunnies, you know, like, you know, so. But even though Playboy kind of does that anyway, but but, you know, you get what I'm saying. Like, they have other options that they can bring into play here, you know, if they want to have a diverse group of body types in their cast. You know, they don't have to completely desexualize a character like that. You know,
I wouldn't say it's desexualizing; it's defeminizing.
Yeah, well, that too. But, you know, like, they're basically what, you know. This is more like desexualizing in terms of not taking something sexual and making it unsexual, but taking something that represents a gender and making it more gender neutral. You know, that's what you know. It's sex in the other connotation.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, sex is in gender. So.
No, well, that's just the overall aim of this whole cultural zeitgeist.
Well, and again, it's something that I think as things go on, there's going to be more and more people. All right, listen, you.
Uh-oh.
Frickin'
Someone
baby.
flaming in the comments?
No, frickin' baby puncher over here. Getting off on knocking around infants and strollers.
Did I miss something?
It's like Super Saiyan Goku using his full power level to fight Bulma. It's just not important. Like, seriously. You're trying way too hard out here.
Well, if you take her hair color into account, she's probably an ultra-feminist if they ever do a reboot of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my gosh.
So he'd probably need all that Super Saiyan power.
That line from the dub, though. There's a line from the dub. It's when Frieza is coming to planet Earth.
Right.
They're like all the guys have all the guys are gathered like out in the wilderness, and they're like he's coming, you guys. You know, like I can feel it. You know, they're all like, oh my gosh, I can feel it. He's so close. And Bulma's like, I don't know, guys. My women's intuition isn't picking up anything. You know,
Yeah.
Like, really?
I remember that. I didn't catch a whole lot of the original dub, but yeah, I remember that one.
It's one of the best lines in the whole freaking thing.
I haven't even watched the new Space Jam. I've listened and watched it.
Yeah.
I probably will because I think it'll still be viewable on HBO Max when the Suicide Squad hits HBO Max. And I'm definitely gonna do at least 1 month just to watch that. And I'll watch the new Space Jam just to get my money's worth if it's still on there.
So,
But I have heard that not only do they defeminize Lola, they make her completely boring.
yeah, of course.
Which I think is a greater sin than the defeminizing and not adapting the more recent iteration of her.
Hassan Shah! Oh, well, I'm all alone. I'm screwed. Damn. Oof! I got blown away. Go ahead. No, you should go. You can just sit on the landmine. It's fine. All right, here we go. Well, I got wrecked. Wow, didn't even grab the edge. Come on.
Player 3 wins.
I was right there. Oh, man. And Detainings punches another baby. Alright.
Oh, you're referring to how much you stink at this game.
Yes! Yes!
Right, okay.
And Detainings, like, refuses to just, like, do anything but, like, play like he's fighting against the #1 ranked player in the whole universe. And he's like, oh my gosh, I gotta be cheap as fuck! Oh, hang on! His gas pedal goes from either complete stop or 80 miles an hour. Like he just doesn't. not a bit of backup there. Anyway.
So he's an all-nothing kind of guy.
Brawl.
An all or nutsack kind of guy. I mean, nothing kind of guy. What did I say?
So, I forget if I mentioned this last week or simply neglected to, forgot, but there's been a new leak of arcade 1-up machines.
Oh yeah.
And it may end up adding to my list of how many I might eventually own
Oh nice.
once a certain windfall comes my way. Although I'm gonna struggle to find a place to put a second one, much less the first one.
Right.
So this leak showed a Terminator 2 cabinet, Terminator 2, the arcade game with the mounted machine guns. But here's the weird thing. Based on what it looks like in the leak, for one, the guns look dog ugly. They're like neon red and blue. I know that's to keep people from being mistaken for using real weapons and getting shot in their homes. But if you've got a bloodthirsty police department, that's not going to help you whatsoever anyway. But the thing is, you see these cables sticking out of the guns. And that leads me to believe that they're using the new light gun type of technology. And the way that these guns are still kind of mounted leads me to believe that one of two things. One, it would be too expensive for them to use the simpler gyro-based controls, or it's going to be crammed with a whole bunch of light gun games as well to increase its value, because the price of any and all arcade 1-ups are going up because of the price of lumber going up, and inflation all around the board. Or they did the light gun technology simply because it's cheaper. Or they may have just gotten the license for that light gun technology and they're using it everywhere they can because they can. It'd be a waste not to. All I'm saying really right now is there's only one way that I would absolutely want to own that thing. Do you know which light gun game is my absolute favorite? Or which gyro game is my best, I mean.
Let's see. Duck Hunt versus Terminator: The Revenge of Aerosmith? I don't know.
I was gonna say, I know what... I see what you did there. That was great. That was hilarious. Yeah, you know the one.
I don't know.
I would have to slap you if you didn't know it.
I don't know.
It's Revolution X.
Oh, Revolution
Dingbat.
X. Right, yeah.
Dominating.
It was the game that turned me into an Aerosmith fan.
Yeah.
That and my beloved late Uncle Mike.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't you like shoot CDs in that game or something like? Rather
Yes,
than,
it's ridiculous.
So it's not like necessarily it is technically a shooter, but it's not like a get your gun out type game, right?
Well, it is a mounted machine gun that you're using.
Okay.
It's all on rails, and it's definitely a machine gun like 98% of the time.
Okay.
Typically in games like that, Terminator 2, the arcade game, Operation Wolf, Mechanized Attack, and so forth, you'd have a machine gun and then the button on the front of the gun for launching grenades, missiles, or what have you. Since the tagline of the game is music is the weapon, you have CDs that do like 10 times the damage of a single bullet.
Yeah.
You get a power up and they become laser discs.
Oh, I see.
And of course, because it's 90s as all heck, the CDs and laser discs are often on fire when you're shooting them. 'Cause why not?
Yes, because if it's on fire, that definitely means it's stronger.
Yeah.
Your house isn't burning down, it's powering up!
Of course, you're going to have a great chance fighting off a giant tank with 50 machine guns and missiles firing at you. Just throw a bunch of CDs and laser discs at it. You'll be alright.
Only if they're on fire. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The 90s, that period where Human Torch was the strongest Marvel character. Anyway. Alright, let's go.
Actually, the 90s is more the time where the amazing Speculator Man was the most powerful Marvel character.
Well, you know. Hey, Rare Uchiha is here! He says he's back to play and roast the shitters. Glad to see you. Oh man.
3, 2, 1, brawl.
Played some more Skyward Sword last night.
Are you liking it?
There's a lot wrong with it. I think they fixed...
Well, I'm sure it's...
from what I hear, they fixed a few things from the original version, but there's still quite a bit wrong with it. I think... I almost feel like the game, like the controller needs another joystick. Like, it sounds dumb, but basically they put the camera controls and the sword controls on the same fucking stick, and it's really annoying switching between them.
Oh, so you're playing in all controller mode?
Yes, because screw Joy-Cons. Seriously.
You haven't even tried playing with the Joy-Cons?
No. Why would I play with the Joy-Con? Why would I play a game with the Joy-Cons that's literally the game that's going to give your right Joy-Con drifting issues? Yeah.
Point noted.
Like, I'm like, man, I'm sitting there playing and go, man, this is the game that's going to give your right Joy-Con drifting issues. Like, because the right Joy-Con technically has the same problem with it, but it never gets the drifting issues because, you know, people hardly use it. You know?
Yeah, that's the one usually used for babysitting the cameras and stuff.
It's usually camera controls, but in this game it's camera controls and sword controls. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, the thing is, with this game, I'm gonna be streaming it. I'm not into having 15-minute long streams where I have to quit because I'm getting carpal tunnel. I'm swinging the sword around. So,
I would think you get carpal tunnel from playing it controller mode, and tennis elbow from playing it Joy-Con mode.
Not so much. Like the thing is, like, if you're playing it in Joy-Con mode, like, because you don't need to do broad arm movements to control the sword. You just need to kind of move it around. So most people are just going to move their wrist to avoid tiring their arm out, which, again, carpal tunnel. Anyways. So...
Actually, I take that back about carpal tunnel with the controller mode. I'm thinking more trigger finger.
Yeah.
My mom had that from working like the government mule she was.
Yeah, sometimes when I play games on PC, like these ROM hacks I've been playing, sometimes when I'm playing one of those, my fingers will start kind of aching after a while, like, and I have to kind of stop. You know, just being old is terrible. Like,
oh, I'm gonna preach me about that.
Yeah. I mean,
had me a fun afternoon at the ER last Thursday.
Yeah.
Don't want to go on about that, except for the fact that our mutual friend and my dear sister, adopted sister, came and visited me right as they were discharging me.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
It mentioned to her that in my text that, you know, I was looking at a possible 4-hour wait to be seen, but I wasn't aware / forgot that if you go in for chest pains, that puts you like in the express lane.
Alright.
So the text I sent her was, got a 4-hour wait ahead of me. Dang it, I should have got dinner on the way here. So she shows up with a care package of like superfoods out the wazoo.
Funny. Ow!
But unfortunately they had given me some stuff that killed my appetite as well as the pain I was experiencing.
Oh, man. Hello, Antonio. Oh my gosh. Dang it. I hate this stage. Alright, here we go. It's freaking time. My goodness. Look at this battle. Look at this intense struggle.
Battle! 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 Battle!
So how far into Deadpool did you play?
I have not really actually played yet.
Battle!
Kind of looking forward to Let's Playing that on the channel eventually. So, it'll be fun.
I got to a part where they used the Transformer sound effect
How funny is that?
as one of their gags.
Amazing.
I was kind of surprised that they were able to get away with it for the reprint, or not the reprint, but the next gen port. They just slapdashed it from 360 and PS3 to PS4 and Xbox One,
Yeah.
and it was like,
Wow.
I wonder if they're going to be able to do that because their license for the Transformers stuff expired.
Huh.
Because
Oh,
I'd
about
watched,
High Moon.
yeah,
Yeah.
High Moon pretty much doesn't exist anymore. They got dismantled and absorbed into the Call of Duty machine.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if they were using the sound effect that they developed for their Transformers game, it's more likely that they could get away with it. Because
Yeah, I guess.
their Transformers sound effect was slightly more tinny than usual. Like, so like they had it was definitely a unique, like you could tell what they were imitating, but it definitely was its own kind of unique sound. So.
Ah. You follow more into I can't talk tonight. You follow copyright stuff closer than I do, so I'll take your word for it.
Well, the thing with copyright is it's all for a short little clip like that too. It's harder to get to win damages as well. One of the reasons that I do like 2 and 3 second memes in my stuff, because basically one of the tenets of fair use is market usurpation, meaning if I play your game, does that mean that I won't want to go and buy this other game because they have satisfied the same need in the market because both games satisfy the same need in the market, basically.
Would that explain why Nintendo has a hate boner for anyone playing like the video clips or story clips in the Smash Brothers games and stuff like that?
Maybe, because sometimes when you're talking about video games that are heavily story-driven, spoilers can actually be a big market deterrent, So, for example, if I'm playing a game and the game itself is not that interesting, but the story's really good, I might not necessarily feel the need to buy that game if I can just watch somebody play it on YouTube and get the story that way,
Right.
So, but, the thing is, the opposite works too, because if somebody's streaming a game and it looks really fun, or the story looks really engaging, then somebody might be more inclined to pick it up, So it's something where, I still think that playing video games on YouTube is akin to free advertising in most cases, but like I said, I can understand wanting to limit certain story events from getting out and things like that. Now that said, like I said, the thing with market usurpation that I was talking about is in this case with the Transformers sound effect. I think that if it came to a legal argument, they would have a hard time in court proving that a little sound effect for 5 minutes was stealing any sort of market share from anything Transformers. Like, because that sound effect was in that video game, we lost $80 billion in movie revenue. Why? Because nobody went and saw The Last Night because Deadpool had a sound effect in a video game for 5 seconds. Same thing with something like because basically they're going to look at how much of the original work was used, which the the sound effect is a substantial part of the work. In fact, a lot of Transformers stuff, you know, whether it's animated or movie-wise, don't even have the sound effects in it. You know, they look at they look at the portion used, and if that portion is the heart of the work. For example, if you use a small clip from a song, but it's like the main chorus of the song, then somebody might say, yeah, that's a little excessive, you know? Because you're basically using the best part of the song right there, you know?
Alright.
So, now if it's a super small clip with just like a couple words in it, then, like I said, nobody's going to get the full impact of listening to the song just from that little clip, you know?
Yeah, that does kind of worry me, because there's 2 clips from Roger Rabbit about his philosophy and outlook on life that I'm going to include as part of my podcast.
Yeah.
And I am still chipping away at that idea, mind you.
Right. So,
And
as far as YouTube goes, I'd say your best defense against copyright claims is number one, keep it short.
right.
Because the shorter it is, the less chance they have to claim it. If it's less the farther under 10 seconds it is, the less likely it is to be claimed.
Yep.
So, you know. Number two, if there is a version of it that, you know, like where you can cut out like unnecessary audio or something like that, like the more you can transform something, the better.
Right. Well, the thing is, I'm thinking of clipping the 2 clips, or merging the 2 clips together so that it sounds more like he's saying it all at once.
Yeah. Well,
But
and again,
they're actually they're two separate sequences or sentences, if I remember correctly.
yeah, and that's not necessarily a problem, but if it's like a whole speech that lasts several seconds, then you might get claimed more often than not. You know.
Right. Well, it's not one speech
Right.
per se, but the way that I kind of want to edit it will make it sound like it's all in one speech.
Right. Well, and, I don't know if you've seen. There was an episode that I did of. I think it was Pokemon Clover Master Cuts, the episode where I fought L. Jackson. And I took that scene from Pulp Fiction, the one with the where he's doing the Bible verse, you know.
Mhm.
And I intercut it with Skeletor saying "what." So it's one of those things where I technically used a bunch of small clips rather than the entire thing, but it's still funny. Like, you know.
I still have not seen that movie.
Oh man. I haven't really seen the movie either, but that scene is kind of famous.
Yeah.
They did a.
There's a reference.
You go ahead.
There's a reference to it in Winter Soldier. Remember how Fury fakes his death?
Yeah.
And they have a funeral and they show the gravestone?
Uh-huh.
The gravestone has that Bible verse on it.
Oh yeah, that's funny. But yeah, it's funny. There's a WWE one year for WrestleMania. I think it was the year that they did WrestleMania in Hollywood. But one of the promos was I think it was Booker T and Triple H, and they were basically reenacting that scene.
Grief.
Yeah. And but instead of pulling out a gun, he gives the guy tickets to WrestleMania. But yeah, it's super funny. Just like. But yeah, like it's pretty, or maybe it was Booker T and Eddie Guerrero. Anyway, but the point is that Booker T was playing Samuel L. Jackson's part, basically. It was really good though, like classic stuff. Anyway.
Dominating.
Other news, had a chat with Caps just before logging in here. It turns out that what I stumbled upon was indeed a half-finished project. So I'm gonna make it my mission to help complete that tunnel.
Secret tunnel!
Railway.
Oh man.
Have to figure out how to make better pickaxes, though.
Yeah.
Together a furnace in my shack and started making some iron ingots.
Yeah.
Soon I'll be able to put those together with sticks and make me iron pickaxes.
Yeah. Caps said he's working on a tower made of furnaces.
Giant furnace made out of furnaces?
No, it's a tower made out of like furnaces, smelters, and blast furnaces. Or not smelters,
Okay.
furnaces, smokers and blast furnaces, excuse me.
Is it gonna look like a giant Fernazi from Clover?
I have no idea what it's gonna look like. That was amazing. Did you see the way I just landed right on that landmine? just completely blew my ass apart.
Way to go.
Man, I haven't had an explosion like that happen around my ass since the last time I ate Chipotle. No, I'm just kidding. Alright.
I thought you were more of a Taco Bell guy.
I don't eat Chipotle. Anyway. An episode of South Park where Cartman was like basically it was Billy Mays hawking this product called Chipotle Way. Crazily DCE, yeah, you can join. It's not a problem.
Let me guess, it was an anti-explosive diarrhea drug?
Yeah, no, it was Billy Mays, and he's hawking this product called Chipotle Way, and it's for getting the blood stains out of your underwear after you've eaten Chipotle. And it's like, and people are looking at it, and like, you know, Cartman's like, that product changed my life. And
Oh, gads.
they're like, Cartman, if you're bleeding out your ass after you eat Chipotle, why don't you just stop eating Chipotle? He's like, you just don't understand. Yeah. But basically the whole the whole crux of that that episode is what had been happening in the world recently, right? Billy Mays had died, Michael Jackson had died, and there was an incident where there was a plane that was like stranded on the runway for like an ungodly amount of time. It was like 36 hours or something stupid. Like, it was a really long time, and they wouldn't let anybody on or off the plane, and it was kind of a nightmare. Anyway, so basically they'd taken those three things and decided to make fun of them all at once, right? So basically the plot of this episode, right, is there is what they call the higher plane, and it's waiting to take off and take everybody that's died recently on it to heaven, right? And Billy Mays' soul is on the plane, but Michael Jackson's soul has left the plane and is possessing Kyle's little brother.
Are we playing another match?
Yes. So
Magyar.
the kids are trying to get Michael Jackson's soul to leave Ike and move on to the higher plane, so that Billy Mays could go to could go to heaven. Oh my gosh.
3,
Oh.
2, 1, brawl.
Oh gosh. Okay. He said,
You ever have the hiccups so bad you regurgitate something that you ate a week ago?
no, not really.
That's what it felt like just now.
Weird definition of hiccups I've never heard before. Now, generally when I get the hiccups, usually doing the whole holding the breath thing helps it. Because hiccups are caused by your diaphragm spasming. And there's a few underlying causes that can cause your diaphragm to spasm, like your stomach being too full, or your stomach having too much gas in it. But basically, in general, the reason that holding your breath works is because when you hold your breath, when you take a deep breath and then hold it for a while, it's stretching the diaphragm out. It's like stretching a cramping muscle or a spasming muscle. It can help stop the spasming.
I remember once when I worked at a grocery store, one of my coworkers, a rather cute female, would constantly get the hiccups in the middle of her shift.
Uh-huh.
I had a talent for just sneaking up on her and just scaring the crap out of her, and it would cure her hiccups.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that?
I mean, it's possible that that the jump scare creating a different kind of spasm is enough to stop the diaphragm from spasming.
Like another shock to the system that equals things out?
Right. Like, basically, you know, basically kind of diverting the electricity from the neural system elsewhere, you know, for a moment. Yeah. I'm gonna just be over here losing. Don't mind me. Oh, come on. Wow.
Dominating.
Amazing. Oh man, here comes some of that baby punching. Tainings doesn't just punch
Player
babies.
3 wins.
Tainings will take the rattle, the bottle, the dirty diaper, anything that baby might have to use as a weapon away from it, and then punch it. He's got to make sure that baby can't defend itself in the slightest before he goes in for the kill.
That's when he's not clubbing baby seals during his 9 to 5.
Well, you know. Everybody's got to have a hobby.
Magyar.
Nice, powerful Sun Drive City.
Three, two, one, brawl.
I love this place. Toasty! He wants to put my tender hard in a blender. Oh, careful there.
Dominating. Shut down.
Whew. Alright, now I can lose. I'm gonna lose so bad.
You could maybe eke out a victory.
I mean, you know, if I was better at this, yes. Dang. Well, there you go.
Player 3 wins.
GG detainings. It's amazing. My character does the bow emoji because they fart on your general direction. Oh, man.
Mako.
Oh, we got another person. Yay. Oh, dang.
I'm in danger.
Alright. Oh, another person. Make me
think
suffer every
Brawlhalla-
brawl match. Yeah, well, suffering is what I do best, apparently. I don't know.
Mammoth ought to be doing another back to school promotion.
No! Not Big Thunderguard, no! Sorry.
3, 2, 1, brawl.
Back to school. Does anyone really go back to school anymore?
That's a good question.
Will there even be schools by the time the fall rolls around? I think they might all die to COVID. CDC can't make up its damn mind about mask mandates.
Yep, my wonderful apartment complex has reinstituted them. Be pissed beyond belief if they try to force a jab in me. So not only do I have a religious exemption, I have precedent exemption. On the last time I got a flu shot, I was deathly ill.
Oh, there goes me. I hate this stage. You already know. Worst place in the game. Frick.
You being terrible at this game. Today, I'm doing worse than you.
Oh god.
Watch. Oh, did you know that they made a Space Jam 2 video game? Free.
Wow.
On Xbox Live.
Is it?
It's a-
Is it free or furry?
A little both. I think you can play as Uggs, Lola, and LeBron. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
It's King James. You know what I saw up at Sam's Club today?
Uh-oh.
I was up at Sam's Club today. I was walking up, you know, just walking into the store, you know, just randomly looking at stuff, and there's this Shaquille O'Neal. They called it a smokeless grill and press. You know, I'm like, Shaquille O'Neal. What happened to George Foreman? What did you do? You know? It's like, man.
Yeah, I keep seeing used Foreman girls at the thrift stores.
Wow.
I'm like, who would want to buy something like that used? They're already so cheap new anyway.
It's kind of
Dominating.
Hey, Superior Rose is in the chat. Nice. Hot damn.
Player 3 wins.
Ooh, I'm getting there. Just a little more.
Mako.
So there's this game coming out like early next year called Stray.
Mm-hmm.
You play as a cat.
Okay, yeah, I think I actually saw a thing on that.
In a world full of anthropomorphic robots.
Oh god.
I'm like, this is the most innovative,
3, 2,
interesting
1,
game I've seen
brawl.
announced in a long time. And thankfully, as far as I can tell, it's going to be on PS4 as well as PS5 and PC.
But when are we going to get a game that has a little yellow circle that eats dots? We have the technology, they could have done it years ago.
Grandpa's off his meds again. You see, Munchkin was 40 years ago. Time to drop it.
So there's this guy that comes in up at the store sometimes, and he's constantly asking for products that don't exist.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's like, do you guys have the 4th season of this anime? It's like that hasn't even aired yet. What do you like? Why do you think we have it on DVD or Blu-ray?
Is it possible he's just come there to troll you in real life?
No, he's just an old guy, and it's kind of sad.
Oh.
You know, it's funny because like you can't like my sister said when he first started coming in there, it's like, well, if Hastings was still here, they'd have it. You know, it's like
If that's supposed to be a slap to the face.
yeah, like the product doesn't exist. They're not. There's no way they would have it. Like it's not a matter of, oh, we just couldn't get it in because it's so rare. It's literally just doesn't fucking exist, dude. You know, keeps asking for stuff that you know either hasn't released yet or just straight up don't exist. You know.
Sad.
Right. Be like walking into and asking for Season 2 of Rising of the Shield Hero, which has been delayed until 2022, by the way.
Still haven't watched the second half of Season 4 of My Hero.
Yeah.
I'm sure like Season 6 is about to happen.
Yeah, Season 5 is in its second half. Season 6 probably won't be until either late this year or early next year.
I misjudged.
Yeah.
Delays due to the beer bug. I like calling it the commie cough.
Down.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Dominating.
oh yeah. Nice. Yeah, my brother was super into speedrunning Hollow Knight for a while. Anyway. Sorry, I was responding to Superior Rose in chat, but anyway, but yeah, the, I don't know, like, it's nice that with My Hero Academia, you pretty much know that it's always going to have another season on the way, you know? Like, because of how popular it is.
Until or unless the author stops doing the manga.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is they've got plenty of material to use, to work with already, so... Yeah. And they do slip filler episodes in every now and again, but I'm really glad that they're not just, like, doing whole seasons of filler, you know? Like...
Yeah, there's... As far as I could tell, there's only like a couple of filler episodes on that show, but they were really fun ones.
Yeah, I don't think the filler episodes that are in there are necessarily bad, and they focus on characters that are otherwise underutilized, so... like, the filler episodes featuring the seal guy, Selkie, you know, it's like, those aren't necessarily bad episodes. They're episodes that serve a function of utilizing some of the other characters that aren't used as much, you know, like this most recent one in season 5 uses Uraraka, Tsuyu, Ryukyu, and you know, and Nejire Hado. So, you know, it's a group of female characters that are otherwise, you know, not really getting a lot of time. So I was kind of happy to see them being utilized in that way, you know. That episode also took a opportunity to show off Uraraka's new outfit, because apparently after the first half of Season 5, she decided that she needed a costume upgrade. She's got these little things hanging off of the arms on the new outfit that look a little like handles. It's like, what are those for? Like my thought process when I saw those is, what are you supposed to be doing with those? Like, is it
They're supposed to be love handles?
Yeah, exactly. That was one of my first thoughts. It's like, man, somebody gonna grab onto those handles from behind and bend you over. And,
I
that's literally why they call them love handles, because you grab something from behind or from the front. Anyway, but that's not the point. Anyway, but yeah, like, it was just.
I didn't know that literally had a sexual connotation to it.
Yes, that's why they call them love handles.
Well,
yeah, it's a spot
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a spot where you grab your lover while you're doing it. Anyway, But yeah. Anyway,
You see, I hadn't heard that even used in forever.
yeah. Yeah, it was more popular during the 80s and 90s for sure.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Like now, the only context you really hear it in is like exercise videos. But
Right.
ooh,
Let's burn away those love handles.
all right. Dang. Winning by time. Well played. Victory via stalling. Impressive.
Mako.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So is Araka's new outfit still like pink and black?
It's still pink and black, yes. It's very similar to the previous outfit. Like I said, the main difference I thought was the arm parts look a little more spherical, and they have little handles on them. Like, which again, I thought they looked like handles. She might have meant for them to be something else, but it's like, man, somebody's gonna grab those in combat and just swing you around like a rag doll, you know?
I would think the idea is if she's trying to pull someone out of a burning building or whatever, and she uses her anti-grav on herself, it's
Yeah.
for them to hold on to.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think of, is that she's is that it's to help her make other people levitate or
3,
something. Like,
2,
anyway,
1.
so that people can grab, so that she can touch people and have her hands free at the same time. I don't know. It's kind of complicated, but yeah, like that was my thought, is that it's probably something like that if there is a function intended for them. Because they don't look like they almost look like they're like little loops, like the stuff that hangs off a Cresselia or something. But it's, you know,
The heck is a Cresselia?
Cresselia is a Pokemon that's based on the moon. It's basically a bunch of moons stuck together.
Oh.
It has these little moons that look like kind of crescent moons, just sort of sticking out of it like wings. Anyway, that's kind of what they reminded me of.
Weird. Is that from Sword and Shield?
No, it's more earlier. I think it's Gen 5. It's a legendary. You would think it would be like from Pokemon Sun and Moon, but no. It's before that.
At least I figured it was one of the newer ones.
Boom. Dang.
So it turns out that there was a name to the person who started the whole Bloomberg Switch Pro rumor.
Oh, yeah.
And Nintendo basically took Bloomberg to task over that and what other things he said. And they pretty much silenced the guy
Yeah.
because he was literally affecting their stock price.
Yeah.
The investors weren't happy.
Right.
And I wasn't happy because this is like the one time where, you know, a big rumor suckered me, and that rarely ever happens. Because it came from, you know, a big name, accepted, mainstream news source in the business world. I'm like, ooh, if it's coming from Bloomberg, then there's got to be a lot of meat to it.
Yeah.
Now, to the dude's credit, only thing that was wrong about it, about his details, was the whole 4K resolution bump and deep learning super sampling. He was like 70% right,
Right.
still mostly wrong.
Right.
So,
Oh, at least he wasn't 100% wrong.
yeah. But he also was starting to say after the OLED model reveal, he was saying that it was the price increase was more or less just for higher profit margins. Nintendo flatly denied.
Right. You know, like, the thing is, there's a lot of consoles lately that have not really had any profit margin, that have basically been operating almost at a loss, or completely at a loss, or not completely, but well, you know what I'm saying. Like, they don't make much, if any, money off of the console because they're hoping to make money off the games and licenses instead.
Right.
So,
most of the industry goes for the razors to razor blades approach.
Exactly. So
Nintendo tries their hardest not to do that.
yeah. So it's something where, you know,
part of the reason why they've got like billions and billions of US dollars worth of yen in a bank, a war chest as it's called, and they could have like 10 Wii U's in a row and still be pretty good.
GG Kayla. Sundrive City. But yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is, you know, when somebody is wrong about so much, it's tough to say, oh yeah, they were right, when they could have just been making intelligent guesses, you know, rather than actually having, you know, leaked information. So you got to be careful when it comes to leaks, who you believe and who you don't. Like, because there are some leakers, like particularly when it comes to Pokemon, that will purposely put a bunch of wrong information in their leaks to make it seem like, oh man, it was just somebody who got a lucky guess, you know. Like, it basically helps disguise their identity so they don't get found out as a leaker.
Right.
Because basically, when stuff like that is being leaked, the obvious thing to do as the person who's investigating the leak is start with, well, who knew that? You know?
Right.
So, if it's a relatively large potential pool, then all you got, that, like I said, they can hide themselves pretty effectively by just muddying the waters a little. So, but the smaller the pool is, the more obvious the source of said leaks becomes. So.
Yeah, I'd be pleased as punch for everyone who's a Pokemon fan if the live-action CG hybrid Netflix series actually comes to fruition.
Speaking of Netflix live-action series, Yu Yu Hakusho's apparently getting one. So, apparently they got a live-action in Japan last year. But they're going to be getting one on Netflix here in the States as well.
I haven't watched a single one of their live-action adaptations yet.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't think I've seen any of the actual anime that they've adapted.
Right.
Like Death Note, for one. I know that got one.
Yeah, Death Note, they had a Japanese live-action adaptation that was a movie, and that was decent. Yeah.
There's also a Fullmetal Alchemist one, but I forgot if that was Japan or American. Saw a trailer for it, and it looked awful, and...
Honestly, if Westerners were going to do a successful adaptation of a anime, you know, as a live action, the one that I would be setting my sights on would be Attack on Titan.
Yep.
Because most of the characters in that are going to be European anyway. Because in the story they make a big deal out of the fact that Mikasa is an Oriental. So.
Right, and they were supposed to have been like almost completely extinct.
Well, yeah, according to what they thought at the time, but anyway.
Spoilers.
Yeah, mild spoilies. But yeah, basically, everything they know is a lie. Anyway, like,
Except for the cake. The cake is not a lie.
well, the cake had spinal fluid in it. I mean, anyway.
WTF, mate.
there's actually a part where they're like, so they're giving the members of the military like alcohol mixed with spinal fluid. Anyway.
Ew?
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay,
like that. Anyway.
I'm not so sure I want to return to Attack on Titan.
No,
Oh.
It's actually amazing. Like the part I'm reading the manga and I'm almost to the end of the series. There's one more volume left. So
You ought to try the Koei Tecmo Attack on Titan games.
speaking of speaking of video games. Well, I mean, we obviously do that a lot here, but
Yep.
I recently found out that we're finally getting a Super Robot Wars title.
Yes, I heard about that. I wasn't sure if... Actually, we had a couple on like the DS or 3DS. If memory serves.
Not that I remember, because the thing is, there have been a ton of Super Robot Wars titles, and they like never get over here. Or if they do, they're like stripped down, nerfed versions of the original. Because the thing is, like, Super Robot Wars is a copyright nightmare.
Yep.
It has tons of giant robos for various different franchises as playable characters. It's like Project Cross Zone, but with like but with way more than just 3 companies with their fingers in the pie, you know? So.
Yep.
So, you know,
I've seen the thumbnails for the trailers for it.
man, I'm super hyped for it. Like, you know, because I was looking at some of the.
Going to be on Switch.
It's going to be on Switch. It's going to be on Steam. It's going to be on
Nice.
PlayStation as well. But yeah, Switch. Like, I will grab that Switch version for sure, because this is the 30th anniversary Super Robot Wars. They're calling it Super Robot Wars 30.
Nice.
So I watched the trailer on the Southeast Asia version of Bandai Namco's YouTube channel first, because it's like 11 minutes long, and they did a really good job of building up like the suspense and whatnot. And then I watched the American version of the trailer on Bandai Namco's US site, and it's literally like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, that's one you're gonna have to like pre-order way in advance.
I may have to, yeah, because basically, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've never had a Super Robot Wars game really before, but yeah, I'll definitely be looking at pre-ordering the dang thing.
I could have sworn we had one
Yeah,
in the past, but I'll look into it.
Yeah, I don't know if we haven't. It was definitely a low-key release, but I think what you might be thinking of is, because I know on the DS, the original DS was not region locked, so you could play stuff from other regions on it. So they may have been people importing the Super Robot Wars games for the DS, so they could play it on the DS. You know, because I know that there were a ton of people who would do that type of stuff, because there were a bunch of people on YouTube playing it that would have the Japanese version that were, you know, imported and played on their.
And I also remember at one time I would go to Best Buy and they'd have Jump Stars on the DS for sale, and it was just the import.
Yeah, it wasn't out over here. They just imported it. Yeah.
So yeah,
I picked up a copy.
That might have been it.
Yeah. Because yeah, there were certain games that were just like unbearably awesome that we just never got over here. So.
Yeah, I wish I'd imported or otherwise tracked down copies of Oendan 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Those were the progenitors to what we got as Elite Beat Agents.
games like Battle Stadium DON, which is basically like a precursor to what ended up being like Jump Superstars. Yeah.
Yeah, but that particular game was unbalanced and just plain not fun.
Right, but you know.
It's the main gripe I have with almost every anime fighter, except for, of course, Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Well, and again, there's been a lot of anime-based fighting games where, yeah, the problem is that they try to make the character balancing the way it is in the show, and it's like that just means that like the protag is usually like the best character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, they're prone to making all sorts of other mistakes as well. For example, One Piece Burning Blood. They make the characters play or control like they're tanks, and not actual characters. And of course, the AI was just punishingly difficult.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's really, really annoying when, like, in a fighting game or something similar, like a pro wrestling game or something, when they give you like combo breaker or hold breaking techniques and whatnot, but they make them really difficult for the player to execute, but the AI does them constantly.
Oh yeah, like the cheating CPUs in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, they don't have to charge to do their fireballs or whatnot.
Yeah, so
it's a complaint as old as the genre itself.
Yeah, it's just, you know, because basically the advantage the AI has is the AI can just go straight to, oh, I'm using a fireball, whereas the player has to, you know, hit like 4 buttons to get there. You know, so.
Yep.
You know, so there's a mode in Battle Arena Toshinden where it was push button specials, but basically if you use that mode, then it basically is, it treats it like you're on easy mode, so you can't like unlock any hidden bosses or anything. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you're playing the easy version of the game. You should play the hard version of the game where specials are a real challenge to do. You know? So, you know, stuff
Yeah,
like
the
that.
fighting game genre, I won't deny, usually has a high bar of entry.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like,
I mean, it took me nearly 20 years to become as mediocre at them as I am.
Right. I think that's one of the reasons people are drawn so much to Smash is because the specials are all really simple to execute. It's not, you know, push button. It's not you know, push 6 buttons and then click you know, at the, you know, to do a fireball. It's, oh, you know, hold a directional pad button and push a button and, oh, there it is. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons people are drawn so much to Smash, and I think fighting games could kind of learn from that. I think regular 2D fighters could learn a thing from, you know, you got like fucking 2 top buttons on every controller on the for every system out there. You could just make those special move buttons.
You ever heard of a game called Dive Kick?
No, is that what they did?
Well, no, but it is agonizingly simple to play, but impossible to master. All you can do is jump and do a diving jump kick.
Oh no, that's really bad.
And
that's basically how I play Street Fighter 2 with Ryu. No, I'm just kidding.
well, the thing is, each character has their own angle of their dive kick and their speeds and so forth of their jump, and I've watched the game being played, and as ludicrously stupid as it sounds, if I'm not mistaken, it actually had a year or 2 at EVO, the big fighting game tournament thing. So, the guys who developed that went on to work on Killer Instinct Season 2 and 3, if I'm not mistaken. So, you can go from something that's super complicated to super simple, or vice versa. It's just that whenever a mainstream fighting game franchise starts getting too simplified, the hardcore fans who have cut their teeth on the genre or that game or series over the course of years are going to be very bitter about it. It's like, hey, you know, everyone should have to pay their dues and learn how to play and throw their Hadokens and 15-hit combos like the rest of us did.
Right.
Whereas you got Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they removed, well, Marvel vs. Capcom is a perfect example. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the arcades had the traditional 6-button layout, or so you thought, but 2 of those buttons were for the tagging and assist moves. People weren't happy about that. Because Marvel vs. Capcom 1 had the traditional 3 punches, 3 kicks, and you summon your helpers by pressing this pair of buttons. You tag in or tag out by using the other pair or the other pair. And you know, it was a high bar of entry, but the rewards outweighed the sacrifice, or the learning experience.
You know,
then Marvel vs. Capcom 3 comes around. There's only 3 attack buttons, 1 special, and the tagging is done with holding down trigger button, and you can't do that precisely. And most of the fighting strategy is learning how to juggle between tagging your teammates into a combo and juggling your opponent, rather than, you know, more advanced combos or you know, footwork and so forth.
Yeah, it's something where I get that, but you know, at the same time, you know, I think it would be the worst thing in the world if somebody made a more simplified 2D fighting game. You know, like I said, it wouldn't have to be like the next in a long franchise, you know, and they could even call it, you know, like Street Fighter Super Baby Easy Mode or something, you know, I don't know. Like, they wouldn't have to make it a franchise game. It could be its own unique thing, but, you know, I just feel like that would be something that gets kind of differentiated from some of these other hyper-difficult to master fighting games, you know. Because, yeah, is it satisfying to pull off an Ultra Combo in Killer Instinct? Yeah. Is it something that I'm going to remember 20 years later?
Dominating.
You know, I remember the feeling of doing it, but I don't remember like how I actually pulled that shit off, because it's really difficult. But like, you know, I can start playing a game like Zelda and still remember where most of the shit is, you know. So.
Yeah, I was in a similar boat when I played the arcade port of the original Killer Instinct on Xbox One. It had been so long since I'd played Killer Instinct that all those memorized ultra combos, linkers, special moves, or most of the special moves, my mental notepad had just withered away and fell apart and turned to dust like Thanos snapped his fingers on it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, there was a point in our lives where we were playing those games religiously, and that was second nature. It was, you know, muscle memory at that point. It's like, you know, you're whooping up on somebody, you get up to like, you know, 13 hits, and their health bars in the red, you hit the buttons and boom, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it felt really good, you know. Like, you're like, yeah, I just did a 33 hit ultra combo, fuck you, you know. Like, but that era was a long time ago, and those muscle memories are gone, you know. Like, yep. So now I go in there and I'm just like, yeah, I didn't get fatality'd on the second fight. Woo!
Yeah. Well, there is one 2D fighting game that got a lot of praise for being inviting to fighting game veterans and newcomers alike, and it was very recent. And ironically enough, it's Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because you can do standard quarter circle plus attack button moves, and you'll be able to play any character like that. The character's special moves are almost universal, and the game is mostly about the deeper strategies of how to use those moves and when, and the various amount of advantages that each character has in various situations. And I think that's the closest that you're going to get to the standard 2D fighting game, that's going to be the perfect middle ground between being super easy and inviting and challenging for veteran. As like I've said before, that game is just a bit too fast for me.
Right.
Just trying to throw myself to the wolves.
Right.
Normally, I can throw myself into any fighting game and get through a match or two before I start having problems. With that game for me, it's like I'm immediately having problems. I have to turn the difficulty down.
Right. Yeah. There was a game, I want to say it was a launch title for the original PlayStation. I believe it was called Zero Divide. And it was a fighting game about all the characters were robots. And the really great part about it was that it had a body part based damage system. So, like, you could be fighting an enemy, and if you, like, let's say you do a lot of leg sweep type attacks or whatnot where you're targeting a leg, suddenly that leg doesn't work as well, and that character starts moving a little more slowly.
Too bad they couldn't work that into one of the SmackDown games back in the day.
And so every time I see a wrestling game, I'm like, man, they really need to use that type of body part specific damage system, because that would be really well suited to a wrestling game, But nobody freaking does that. And I can't remember even what company put out Zero Divide, but like I've never seen it get re-released or anything. I've never seen any sequels or anything for that franchise. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the game, Zero Divide. But yeah. Anyway, and if not, somebody can correct me, I guess. But it's
I remember us hanging out at a mall or something one day, and you saw it, and you're freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Trying to get me to buy it, but
Right.
my wallet said no.
Right. But yeah, like, oh man. But yeah, I remember that one was a lot of fun. And there was Iron and Blood. That was another good one. It was the D&D fighting game.
Oh yeah, the one I gave to your brother.
Yeah, he doesn't
Player
have it
4
anymore.
wins.
Yeah, I missed that game.
He purged his library, but yeah, Iron and Blood, I thought that one was a hell of a lot of fun.
Progression system in that game was a bit obtuse. It had something of an RPG type of thing where you could get the characters leveled up and stronger.
Make the character stronger and unlock new ones by playing. And it was like a different thing, a different vibe, like every time, like, because like
Nim Pimply
the Goblin, that's the name.
He was fun.
Oh man, but yeah, because I loved pretty much everything about that game, because one of the things that I really enjoy about fighting games is playing through to unlock stuff. There's a few fighting games that have those play through and unlock stuff type mechanics, and I love that. And that one made it to where you had that, but also replay value, because it was simple to unlock things, but you needed to do a lot of it, and it was something that was it was interwoven into the gameplay mechanics, because basically it was you and the other player, or it was like you and the other player or the other side if it was an AI, and you're trying to wipe out all of their fighters while recruiting fighters of your own, and like you recruit fighters by getting wins, and each fighter has a set number of rounds they can lose before you lose that character forever, but you can get them back by getting enough wins. So it's like this whole strategy role-playing fighting game. It was really interesting, because you couldn't always rely on being good with one character, because if you because I want to say they kind of picked your starting character at random, and then, like I said, you kind of had to make do with the characters that you had in order to get new ones, that you might like a little bit.
Yep.
So it was something that in a way I think it kind of forced you to learn to use all the characters, which was really nice. And it wasn't like there was like a bajillion characters on the roster either. I think it was like 8. But
Dominating.
So
Dungeons and Dragons should have more and better video game adaptations.
Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, they had another interesting adaptation recently. After all these years of being owned by the same company, Dungeons and Dragons finally just got their first Magic the Gathering expansion.
Except crossover?
Yeah, it's a Magic the Gathering expansion, but all the cards are based on Dungeons and Dragons monsters and characters.
Nice.
So,
Reason why I say they need more and better video game adaptations is because I played their latest one. It came out pretty recently. It's called Dark Alliance.
yeah.
Avoid it.
Yeah.
It's a buggy, janky mess.
Yeah. Wonder if we can get them to re-release Iron and Blood on like a Classics collection or something. Maybe some sort of D&D Classics collection or something eventually. Yeah.
I would foresee a remaster / reboot of that game before a collection.
And I would be good with that if they decided to spit shine Iron and Blood, make it pretty, and then re-release it. I'd buy it.
There was the Baldur's Gate series of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games. Those were mostly, I think, Sony exclusives, and it might be hard for them to license those out for a collection.
Yeah, maybe, unless they do it on Sony, but
Yeah.
Mako.
The gears in my head are turning.
Yeah, they could offer Sony like a few years of exclusivity before they put them on other systems or something. I don't know. They could work something out, I'm sure, but I'm just saying, there have been some pretty epic games, that there are a bunch of games on the PlayStation that I would love to get a hold of, or get a hold of again, like
3, 2,
I have no idea
1,
what happened
brawl.
to my copy of Digimon World 1, unless it was my brother's game, and, but, because, yeah, I have no idea where that is. I could have sworn I had a copy. I remember playing the shit out of it, but I don't have one now. I've got Digimon World, I got Digimon World 2, Digimon World 3, and Digimon World Data Squad, so...
Don't forget 4.
Yes, I have 4, but that's on the GameCube. I was talking about just stuff on the PlayStation. I also have the Digimon World Rumble Arena games on the PlayStation as well. Or not Digimon World, but just Digimon World Arena. But yeah. Digimon Rumble Arena! Alright. I'm thinking about making this the last one.
Alright.
Let's see. I might stick around. I'm having fun chatting. Oh, God! Alright. Man. So, I was reading, I think it's, Seirei Gensoki, Spirit Chronicles. It's a light novel that just recently started being adapted into an anime. Like, they've aired, like, 4 episodes of the anime so far. So, I finished the first 4 books today. And they're releasing them over here in omnibuses. So basically, instead of each individual book having just 1 book worth of content in it, they've each got 2 books in there, which is really nice. But anyway, so I finished reading the third book, which is the first half of the second book. Anyway. But anyway, so I finished reading the third volume of the third part of the story, I guess. And the author's like, yeah, the first 3 parts were basically just the prologue, and I was like, oh shit. It's like,
You're in for the long haul now, dog.
It's like, nah, trilogy? Nah, that's the prologue.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's just like, wow. So I'm thinking that's probably where they're gonna end the anime. It's because I think it's gonna be funny because they'll they'll end the anime at that part and be like, okay, yeah, now we're just starting, But yeah, it's really interesting so far though, and I can kind of see where they're probably headed for the 5th book, but we'll see. Yeah, it's pretty awesome though. Because like the first, I think 3 episodes in the anime are pretty much just cover the first book, first volume, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird because, like I said, the omnibus thing. It's 2 volumes per book, which I wish that this company would do with more of their books, because this company that's publishing these things, they publish like these super thin books, like these little bitty, teeny tiny books, and it's just like, man, could you stop charging like $15 for like a book that's not even as thick as a finger, like like. Yeah, I would much rather they put those in an omnibus format. Anyway. Alright. Anyway. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and call it here for the night.
Alright.
Want to thank everybody for joining. Thanks everybody so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I'll be back for more torture next week. Or maybe I'll play something else if I feel like it. We'll see what happens. Anyway... And of course, as always, I hope everybody has a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.